Hello everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to talk about Black Panther Wakanda Forever and its performance at the box office in its opening weekend of release. Now there might be spoilers for this movie and other films and TV series within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so just beware when going into this overall video. So we then take a look at the opening numbers for the movie's release, and overall it's had a great start. In US cinemas, the movie has managed to gross over a massive $180 million in its opening weekend, setting the record for the highest weekend within November, breaking the previous one that was set by the Hunger Games Catching Fire back from 2013. Now, when including international markets, the film has managed to gross a global total of just over $330 million. So overall, this is a great take for the sequel, and to be honest, we were all expecting a big opening, firstly because it's the MCU, which will always have big openings. We look at this year alone, with the likes of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which grossed over $185 million in its opening weekend. Thor: Love and Thunder managed to gross over $147 million in its opening weekend. So the sequel was always going to be huge, following the massive success of the first film in 2018, which grossed over $1.3 billion worldwide. This was given even greater context, of course, with the sad passing of Chadwick Boseman, who played T'Challa, sadly passing away in August 2020. So there was always that great emotional weight and reference and resonance going into this movie. There was almost a sense of obligation that we had to watch this film to see how exactly they would pay proper homage to the actor. So there was never any doubts that Wakanda Forever was always going to open huge. It was all but guaranteed a massive blockbuster. Now, some detractors will try to mark the film down because it didn't gross as much as the first film, which made over $202 million in its opening weekend. But this was a November release as opposed to earlier in February when the first film released, and we're only literally talking about a deficit of around 22 to 23 million, so that is nothing devastating or really worth reporting about. So I don't think there's too much here to worry about in terms of the film's box office in the US. I reckon overall the film will probably end up making it around anything from between 400 to 500 million domestically in the US. It doesn't really have any major competition until Avatar: The Way of Water, which doesn't release until December the 15th, so it should hold a top spot for at least 2 to 3 weeks consecutively. So we then ask the usual question for blockbusters of this size: will it go on to make $1 billion at the box office? Now, right now at this stage, I'm going to say it's got a very good chance. Now, the movie will not get a channel release, as is the normal process now with Marvel films, so that will work against it. So if that is a factor, then I will say it will probably get close to the $960 million that was made by Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness earlier on this year. Now, some will point out to the mixed reception that the movie has got, particularly amongst critics and certain fans as well, but I don't think there's been an overall massive negative backlash to the film, so I don't think this will impact its overall performance. Now, yes, the 2 hour 40 minutes plus runtime may have cut down the amount of screenings, but again, the fact that there aren't many big releases in the next upcoming weeks is a factor that I believe will help the movie in its overall hold from weekend to weekend. So just finally then, I just want to quickly talk about the ongoing comparisons that I've seen online between Wakanda Forever and Black Adam. I've seen many arguments both for and against both movies. There have been some perspectives given that Black Adam was the real fans' favourite, that it was somehow a step in the right direction as opposed to Wakanda Forever because it didn't have none of the woke politics or the identity commentary. I've seen certain of the outrage narratives surrounding stereotypes between black races or Mexican races or Asian races. Many arguments have been made about how the film is somewhat of a negative commentary on colonization. Now, I didn't see any of these arguments personally when I reviewed the film myself, but this is something that you're always going to get, especially when Marvel continues to push their initiatives surrounding diversity and representation. But any comparisons to Black Adam look completely flat when we look at the numbers that show that currently at $330 million, Wakanda Forever has almost matched Black Adam's entire take, which currently stands at $352 million, and that movie has been on release now for 4 weeks. So we all knew that Wakanda Forever was going to outperform Black Adam, that was never in doubt. So there's no point in comparing Marvel and DC. The universes are in completely two different stratospheres. Black Adam was a character that was largely unknown to mainstream audiences, and as we all know, the DC Cinematic Universe, or the DC Studios, whatever you want to call it, is still trying to define its identity and direction going forward. as opposed to the MCU, which has long been an established franchise for the last 12 to 13 years. So unless the DC movie is about Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman or the Justice League, there really isn't any point in comparing any entries that are released within the MCU. So I just think any fans of DC and this particular universe just need to worry about their own franchise going forward and finding a clear defined direction rather than worrying about what Marvel are doing. Really, that's what caused the problems of the DCEU to begin with in the first place. So when it comes to Marvel then, we look back at Phase 4, which has had its issues, and I will be outlining that in an upcoming video, so look out for that shortly on the channel. But it looks right now that Wakanda Forever will at least commercially end the phase on a high note. And despite all of the commentary, again, that we see online about the MCU is dying and it's fading out and it's coming to an end, the fact is that the success of Wakanda Forever has proven that the MCU, whether you like it or not, is still standing. It's still strong as a franchise. As an entity, it's still pushing it on with lots of content. We've got at least 2 more phases over the next upcoming years where we're going to see at least 3 movies and at least 3 Disney Plus shows coming out for phases 5 and 6, and of course we've got the upcoming integration of the X-Men as well. So you may not like it, and yes, there are creative issues with the MCU in its phase 4, but the fact is the MCU as a franchise just simply isn't going anywhere, and all the hate and toxic videos that I'm seeing online isn't going to change that for now. And Wakanda Forever's opening is proof that the MCU is still standing as the most prolific brand in entertainment today. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and look back on the opening numbers of the box office performance of Wakanda Forever in its first weekend. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How do you feel about this opening total? Do you think it's a great success? Do you think it's somewhat of an underperformance? How do you think the film will fare in the next upcoming weeks in its second and third weekends? And do you think it will overall manage to get to that $1 billion mark that so many of these movies crave for? Let me know what you think in the comments. And of course, if there are any other massive headlines regarding the second and third weekends of the box office, I will report on those within the channel as well. So let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have any other suggestions regarding any other movies, television series, or any other burning industries or topics within the entertainment industry that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know in the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on the channel in the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality material in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.